Finally, Wolverhampton Wanderers have signed a player. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Talking Wolves, and welcome back to a brand new video. Huge video today as Wolverhampton Wanderers have announced the club record signing of Fabio Silva from Porto. A huge day in the history of Wolverhampton Wanderers. The fact that Wolves have spent this amount on a teenager from Porto, one of the highest rated Portuguese players compared to Ronaldo when he was that sort of age playing in Portugal. This is a huge signing from Wolves and a huge show of intent from Fosun and the club. I'm going to try today to give my thoughts on the signing. We've also got the insight of Alex Goncalves as well throughout the video. So big up to him. You can find his links down below. But guys, of course, as well, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. It's always great to hear from the fans, whether you're a Porto fan giving your thoughts on the move, whether you're a Wolves fan giving your thoughts on the move. It all started, I like to give sort of a backstory on this, and this is one of those which just came out of the blue. That's how Wolves do their business. They're nice, they're quiet, they're private. And this one is a crazy story. It's come out of the blue. Jeff Shee was seen yesterday in a Wolverhampton restaurant. I believe it was Fume in Wolverhampton. There was a picture very slyly taken by somebody who was also in the restaurant, which showed Jeff Shee at a table with a number of people, one of which was a man opposite where the photo was taken, and somebody with the back to the photo, which of course was Fabio Silva. When I first saw the image, I was very dubious because surely the club and the chairman would not be taking a player of that calibre or out for dinner publicly before the move was announced. It was obviously him. It got reported by a Portuguese paper or a website quite shortly after the picture was doing the rounds. And then it hit from about lunchtime today. My phone was going crazy. Every journalist of a very reputable source had confirmed that Wolverhampton Wanderers were set to sign Fabio Silva for around 40 million euros. It turns out it's going to be about 35 million pounds with some add-ons in there as well. But what a sign of intent from Fosun and Wolves. If you don't know much about this guy, obviously I'll let Alex talk about him a little bit more shortly. But striker predominantly, which I think we all knew Wolves needed. Wolves knew that Raul needed a bit of competition, a bit of backup, bit of, somebody else Wolves can cushion on for the goals. Although, we're in many competitions and Jimenez finished our top goal scorer. Other than Jota as well, our next top goal scorer, I believe, was Dendoncker with 4. So we do really need another outlet for goals. And Fabio Silva comes into the club with such a high praise from everybody in Portugal, really. And it's going to be really, really exciting to see how this guy does. It's very clear that Fosun now have put their focus and want to spend money on young players that are going to be quality investments. And for them to sign 35 to 40 million pounds on somebody that's just 18 years of age, they have a lot of faith in this young man. And it's going to be so interesting to see how he develops and how he does at Wolves. I'm really excited for the move. I've said from the end of the season that I would love to see Wolves go a little bit more attacking. I can't see us not spending 40 million pounds on a striker not to partner Raul Jimenez, really. I think we'll see the 3-5-2 a hell of a lot more. What this could mean for Jota, I don't know. I think Jimenez and Jota will probably be the starting two for the first few weeks at least, and see Fabio slowly introduced into the team. But even in terms of other positions on the pitch, right wing back, of course, is still a little bit light. You'd expect to see players there. But if we start in the 3-5-2, you've got 2 strikers there. Could see Adama slot into the right wing back role a hell of a lot more as well. But I'm just really excited to see what Fabio Silva can do in a Wolverhampton Wanderers shirt. He's broken a lot of records for Porto. He's the youngest ever starter for them. Youngest ever goal scorer in any competition. Youngest ever goal scorer in a European competition as well. Taking over Ruben Neves. So, Porto from a young age. This guy has been, so highly rated for a number of years now. Even, at youth level, it was remarkable how highly this guy was praised. And now he's come to an age where at 18 years of age, he either needs to be Porto's number 1 striker, I think, or getting a hell of a lot of minutes for Porto because his game time has been very limited. But Nuno and Wolves, well, Wolves have backed to Nuno and said, you know what? Nuno obviously knows how quality this guy is. The Portuguese media, Portuguese football fans, Porto all know how quality this guy is. And the fact that, okay, it's taken us a hell of a long time to sign a player, but the fact that Fosun have gone, you know what? Chuck £35 million on the table there. Let's bring him in. They are very confident and they are showing a lot of faith in the club to spend this sort of money now. As a football fan, you might look at his goal record and think, that is pretty dreadful, which is fair enough because he hasn't scored a huge amount of goals for Porto's first team. But the same was to said for Raul Jimenez. When you look into it a little bit deeper and maybe look at the minutes that were played and the goals per minute, Fabio Silva made 12 appearances in the league for Porto last season. He only scored one goal, but that was a goal every 180 minutes. Which means, that's a goal every 2 games on average. He could come off the bench for last 10 minutes of 10 of those games, and that's 100 minutes played. Obviously he's only scored the 1 goal, but his goal per minute isn't too bad. The same with Raul Jimenez. When he first joined from Benfica, his goal record was not great at all. But for someone that was coming off the bench and scoring goals, his ratio was very, very similar to that. You look in all competitions, he scored 5 last season in the UEFA Youth League as well. Scored twice in the Taça de Portugal, which is their cup. And his goal per minute ratio there was 107 minutes. In all competitions last year, including youth level as well, he scored 8 goals and he was getting a goal every 196 minutes, which is roughly a goal every 2 games, which for a striker is not a bad record whatsoever. And that's for a young striker getting very limited game time, very limited minutes. So I wouldn't ever look too deep into those stats. So now I'm going to pass you on to Alex, who is going to be giving me his thoughts. He's going to be far more clued up on Fabio Silva than I am. So here's what he has got to say.
Fabio Silva to Wolverhampton Wanderers. It's a hugely impressive piece of business, another exceptional signing by the club, and one that really caught many people by surprise. 40 million euros is the fee. It's a substantial sum of money, you could say, for a player with limited senior experience, but in reality, it's an extremely reasonable price. Wolves are paying for a player that, at the age of just 18, has a decade and a half of top-level football ahead of him, and really, in today's market, buying young stars like him on the cheap simply doesn't happen. He's got the traits you look for in a centre forward. He's an intelligent footballer that has proven himself to be an incredibly accomplished finisher. His goal scoring record at youth level was stunning, and he was crucial in leading Porto to that fantastic UEFA Youth League title last year. He also offers great link-up play with good attacking awareness. His intelligence both on and off the ball means that he offers great forward-thinking movement. He's able to combine intricately with players around him, and he makes the correct decisions most of the time. His lack of senior game time really is to be expected. If he were playing regularly at Porto at this age, his price would be triple what Wolves paid, if not more. But it is the main weakness that he has, whether he can make the transition to senior football seamlessly. I'm absolutely sure he will. But of course, there's always that possibility, that chance that it could take time. He also has shown that he's great at holding up the ball at youth level. He showed good physicality. That, of course, we've got to remember that this will probably not be the case, at least initially in the Premier League, which of course is far more physically demanding. But that should come with age and experience as he develops his game further. And I really just struggle to see how this could be perceived as a risk for Wolves, who will always be able to sell him on really for at least the same price further down the line, if not more likely for a substantial profit, unless, of course, he goes on to his career at Wolves. There's a reason that he's been linked with some of the very biggest clubs in the world football, and Wolves fans should be incredibly excited about this addition. He's one of the most promising footballers to ever come through the Portuguese academies, and Wolves are really well placed to fulfil their ambitions in the future, and now, of course.
So there we go, guys. Fabio Silva. Big thanks to Alex, by the way. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how he gets on at Wolves, how the team develops over the next season, how Fabio develops over his Wolves career. And just seeing now, I know it's been so long and it was all doom and gloom, but just this intent from Wolves to spend that money to bring in such a highly praised and high potential prospect. I think we're all now looking forward a little bit more to the season. Of course, we've got to still try and bring in 1 or 2 more players, but I think everyone is pretty happy with this signing. It's going to be really intriguing and interesting to see how he gets on. Guys, if you did enjoy it today, be sure to hit the like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And until next time, I'll see you all very, very soon.